not because they're better, but because they dare to act like they are. So the question is, how long will you keep pretending you're not meant to lead? If you have recognized the pervasive weakness, the silent self-doubt that gnaws at your resolve, then now you must hear the call. It is not a gentle whisper. It is a thundering declaration. It is the demand of your own untapped potential screaming for release. It is the recognition that acting as if you are the best is not mere bravado, but a necessary posture for anyone who seeks to carve a life of meaning and impact, rather than simply existing on the periphery. You have grown comfortable in your mediocrity. You have settled for good enough in your career, allowing your ambition to wither under the constant drip of routine and apathy. You tell yourself, this is fine. I'm doing okay. But is okay what you were put on this earth for? You allow your relationships to stagnate, avoiding difficult conversations, clinging to superficial pleasantries, rather than forging bonds of profound depth and honesty. You fill your hours with trivial distractions, endless entertainment, the pursuit of fleeting pleasures, all while the grander symphony of your life remains unplayed. You lack the ambition to truly master a skill, to build something lasting, to stand out in a crowd. You are content with being just another face in the crowd, believing that the true architects of the world are somehow different, somehow special, somehow better. This is not contentment. It is surrender to the lowest common denominator. You have the opportunity daily to step up. Yet, when faced with a challenging project at work, you hesitate, hoping someone else will seize the initiative. When a chance to lead presents itself, you retreat, convinced you lack the inherent authority. When you consider a bold personal goal, you immediately list a dozen reasons why it's impossible for you, while simultaneously admiring those who have achieved similar feats. You believe their path was somehow easier, their talents greater, their destiny more pronounced. This mindset is a cage of your own making, built from the bricks of self, limitation, and the mortar of external comparison. The time for timid whispers is over. Your potential demands more. Think back to the spring of 1940. Europe was crumbling. France was falling. Britain stood alone, seemingly on the brink of invasion, facing an enemy that had swallowed continent after continent. There were powerful voices, even within my own government, who believed compromise was the only path. They advocated for negotiation, for seeking terms with a monstrous tyranny. They believed Britain, diminished and isolated, was simply not capable of standing alone against such a formidable force. They were ready to concede that others were better, stronger, more dominant. They were ready to act as if our very existence was negotiable, that we were inferior to the enemy at our gates. Did I believe that? Did I act as if they were better, their will stronger, their vision clearer? No. I knew the steel that ran through the veins of the British people. I knew our history, our fighting spirit, our unwavering resolve. I insisted on victory, on fighting on the beaches, on the landing grounds, in the fields and in the streets, in the hills. I proclaimed that we would never surrender. This was not blind optimism. It was an unwavering belief in our inherent capacity for greatness, a refusal to concede that any other nation, any other power, was fundamentally better or more determined than we were. It was an absolute conviction in our own strength. I acted as if we were the best, the most resilient, the most indomitable, even when the world believed we were doomed. This was the call to greatness, answered not just by me, but by a nation that refused to believe it was inferior. Your potential demands more than polite acquiescence. Reject the notion that you are merely an observer in your own life. Start by defining your own high standards. What does best look like for you in your craft, your relationships, your physical and mental state? It is not about comparing yourself to others, but comparing yourself to the greatest version of yourself. Make a conscious, defiant decision to break free from the gravitational pull of complacency. Take decisive action today, right now, in one area where you know you have been settling. It could be dedicating an hour to learning a new skill, initiating a difficult but necessary conversation, or simply waking up earlier to pursue a neglected ambition. Greatness is not given, it is taken. It is forged in the crucible of self, belief, and unwavering effort. If you ignore this call, you become a forgotten footnote in your own story, a shadow in the grand tapestry of life. But if you answer it, if you embrace the struggle, if you act as if you are the best, you forge a life of purpose, impact, and profound satisfaction. The choice is yours, and the clock is ticking. The time for timid whispers is over. Your potential demands more. Greatness is not given, it is taken. You have seen the weakness, heard the call. Now understand the cost of ignoring it. This is not a theoretical exercise. This is the stark reality that awaits those who choose to shrink, who choose to defer, who choose to believe that someone else is inherently superior. The price of mediocrity is not paid with a sudden, catastrophic blow. It is paid in the slow, insidious erosion of your spirit, your dignity, and your very self-respect. Do you wish to wake up one day, years from now, looking back at a landscape littered with what-ifs? This is the currency of regret, and it is the bitter wage of the man who believes he is not the best, who allows others to dictate his worth. You will watch others succeed, not because they were inherently more talented, but because they dared to act as if they were. While you remain stagnant, chained by your own self-doubt, you will see them seize opportunities you hesitated over, climb mountains you never even attempted, build empires from ideas you dismissed as too ambitious for. Someone like you. And the sting of their success will be amplified by the knowledge that you could have been there. This isn't merely about career or wealth. It infects every corner of your existence. Your relationships become shallow, built on cautious diplomacy rather than bold vulnerability, because you fear true connection will expose your perceived flaws. Your physical vitality wanes as the discipline required to maintain peak performance feels like an impossible burden. Your mind dulls, no longer challenged by grand ambitions, instead consumed by the petty concerns of the moment. You become complacent, losing the fierce, burning drive to improve, to evolve, to dominate your own destiny. The what if becomes a haunting, constant companion, whispering its torment into your quiet moments. The gravestone of regret is carved by inaction. Consider the history of the 1930s, a decade of appeasement, a conscious decision by many powerful figures to believe that the burgeoning tyranny across the Channel could be reasoned with, could be contained, could be negotiated with. They believed that a direct confrontation was too costly, that Britain was not strong enough, not prepared enough, that peace at any price was the only option. They acted as if the ambitions of a madman were greater than our resolve, as if our nation was somehow inferior in spirit or will. They dismissed the warnings, ignored the blatant aggression, and chose comfort and temporary tranquility over the hard, brutal truth. They acted as if others, the aggressors, were truly better, stronger, more inevitable. The price of that widespread mediocrity, that collective failure of conviction, was catastrophic. It was the Dunkirk beaches, the Blitz, the brutal. Years-long struggle that nearly consumed Western civilization. Had we acted earlier with the conviction of our own strength, with the belief that no one was better than us, that no one had the right to dictate our future, countless lives and immeasurable suffering could have been avoided. The cost of believing others were somehow superior, more formidable, more destined for conquest, was almost the end of everything. They paid the ultimate price for failing to act as if they were the best, for letting the seeds of doubt about their own power flourish. This is the grim future you forge for yourself every day you hesitate. Every day you choose comfort over courage. Every day you defer to the perceived superiority of another. You carve another line into that gravestone of regret. Stop clinging to the illusion that later will be easier, or that someday you will magically transform. Start confronting the brutal reality of what happens when you abandon your own inherent power. Visualize the future you want to avoid. The stagnant career, the unfulfilled dreams, the quiet desperation of a life lived beneath your potential. Let that chilling vision be your fuel. Make a conscious choice to demand more from yourself, starting now. Understand that by choosing to act as if you are the best, you are not diminishing others. You are simply stepping into the full measure of your own power. This is the only way to avoid the crushing weight of what could have been. Comfort today means regret tomorrow. Your competitors are getting stronger while you seek comfort. Mediocrity is a slow, self-inflicted death. You seek to act as if you are the best, do you not? To carry yourself with an unshakable confidence, to command respect, to stand above the fray. Many believe this is a trick of the mind, a facade, or some inherent gift bestowed upon a select few. This is a dangerous lie. True unshakable confidence is not born of delusion. It is forged in the application of ancient, unyielding principles. It is the result of relentless, often painful preparation. You do not merely act as if you are the best. You have become the best through the mastery of fundamentals. The modern man often believes success is an algorithm to be cracked, a shortcut to be found. He wants the applause without the practice, the victory without the scars. He scrolls through endless streams of tips and tricks, seeking superficial hacks rather than fundamental truth. He avoids the deep work, the meticulous study, the painful repetition required to truly master a skill, instead opting for the broad strokes, the half measures. He sees a masterful presentation and assumes innate talent, never considering the hours of research, the endless drafts, the brutal rehearsals. He believes others are simply born better, at sales, at leadership, at creative thinking, while he awaits some magical revelation that will transform him overnight. This intellectual laziness is a cancer, corroding your potential. You attempt to build a skyscraper on a foundation of sand, and then wonder why it wobbles. When I stood before the House of Commons, or addressed a beleaguered nation on the radio, my words were not born of improvisation or a sudden flash of genius. They were the product of a lifetime of relentless study, of devouring history, of dissecting parliamentary procedure, of honing my command of the English language. Even in the darkest days of the war, I spent hours poring over reports, maps, intelligence briefings. I understood the minutiae of military strategy, the complexities of political alliances, the psychological purpose of the enemy. I wrote and rewrote speeches, refining every phrase, every cadence. My conviction, the absolute belief in the rightness of our cause and the certainty of our eventual victory, was rooted in a profound understanding of the facts when I said, We shall never surrender. It was not a desperate plea. It was a statement of inevitable truth, based on a rigorous assessment of our capabilities and the enemy's vulnerabilities. I acted as if I was the best, not because I was arrogant, but because I was the best at preparing. I possessed a deeper understanding, a clearer vision, and an unshakable resolve that flowed directly from that mastery. Stop seeking shortcuts. Start embracing the grind. Your journey to acting as if you are the best begins with these ancient principles. First, relentless preparation and study. No one is inherently better at a craft. They are simply more committed to its mastery. Dedicate yourself to becoming an absolute expert in your chosen field. Spend an hour every day, without fail, studying, practicing, analyzing. Read the foundational texts, dissect the work of the masters. Understand the underlying mechanisms of your domain. You are not waiting for inspiration. You are building a vast arsenal of knowledge. When you speak, let it be from a place of deep, unshakable understanding, not fleeting opinion. This is your bedrock. Second, cultivate unwavering conviction based on truthers. Once you have done the painstaking work of preparation, your confidence will not be brittle bravado. It will be a shield of impenetrable steel. When you know you are right, when your conclusions are built upon solid fact and meticulous thought, you gain an internal authority that no external criticism can shake. This conviction allows you to assert your perspective, to lead, to make decisive calls. Even when others waver, it is the core of acting as if you are the best, because you are the most informed, the most thoroughly prepared. Third, project authority through forceful articulation. Knowledge without projection is a lamp under a bushel. Once you have mastered your subject and forged your conviction, you must communicate with clarity, precision, and undeniable force. Practice expressing your ideas succinctly, powerfully, and persuasively. Learn to command attention not through volume, but through the weight of your words and the certainty in your voice. This is how you translate internal mastery into external leadership. If you commit to these principles, you will cease to be merely a participant in your own life and become its architect. You will rise above the clamor of opinions because your voice will be grounded in truth and competence. Your confidence will not be a fleeting emotion, but a stable pillar of your character. The man who truly acts as if he is the best does so because he has earned the right to that position through diligent, unwavering application of these timeless methods. Ignore them, and you remain a dilettante, always on the periphery, forever envious of those who dare to master their domain. The man who truly knows leads. Preparation is the silent weapon of the best. Conviction forged in truth is unbreakable. You believe you are the best, or you seek to act as if you are. Then you must understand this brutal truth: your mettle will be tested. The path to greatness, the path of acting as if no one is better than you, is not a paved road, but a jagged mountain trail strewn with obstacles, criticisms, and brutal setbacks. It is in these crucibles of testing that true strength is forged, and only those who embrace the heat, who refuse to break, emerge as the undeniable best. Many shrink from this fire, preferring the comfort of the sidelines, where their fragile self-perception remains unchallenged. This is where most men fail. The modern world has cultivated a crippling aversion to discomfort and criticism. You see it everywhere. A single negative comment online sends a man into a spiral of self-doubt. A challenging project at work, one that pushes the boundaries of his competence, is met with procrastination or outright avoidance. A harsh setback public failure becomes definitive proof of inadequacy rather than a brutal lesson. You view adversity as a sign that you are not good enough, that others truly are better equipped to handle the pressure. You run from conflict, avoid difficult truths, and crave only affirmation, believing that a smooth path is a sign of success. This mindset, this fear of the crucible, guarantees your mediocrity. It ensures you will never know the full extent of your own power, because you refuse to test its limits. In the spring of 1940, Britain faced not merely a challenge, but an existential threat. France had fallen. Our army was trapped at Dunkirk. Bombs rained down on our cities. Criticism was rife, not just from our enemies, but from within our own parliament, from a populace gripped by fear. There were calls for negotiation, for compromise, for acknowledging the seemingly superior might of the enemy. Every day brought fresh disasters, new reasons for despair, new voices questioning my leadership, my sanity, my very ability to lead. Did I falter? Did I believe that the enemy's crushing victories proved their inherent superiority, or that the critics' barbs diminished my resolve? No, I knew that the strength of a nation, like the strength of a man, is not proven in times of ease, but in the white, hot furnace of adversity. I looked the brutal fact squarely in the face, absorbed the blows, and refused to yield. The blood, toil, tears, and sweat. Speech was not an admission of weakness. It was a defiant declaration of our willingness to endure the crucible, to become stronger through the very suffering others sought to avoid. I acted as if we were the best, the most resilient, the most indomitable, even when the world believed we were on the verge of collapse. To truly act as if you are the best, you must cultivate these mental frameworks for handling adversity. First, embrace the no alternative mindset. When you commit to being the best, retreat is not an option. You are not exploring possibilities, you are asserting outcomes. When facing a formidable challenge, adopt the mental posture that failure is simply not an acceptable conclusion. This clarity of purpose, this unwavering commitment to victory regardless of the odds, sharpens your focus and unleashes reserves of strength you never knew you possessed. It means you will find a way where others would simply turn back. Second, a criticism is information, not condemnation. When the blows come, when the critics lash out, do not shrink. Do not internalize their words as a judgment of your inherent worth. Instead, detach yourself. Filter their input for any useful intelligence. Is there a kernel of truth you can learn from? And discard the rest as noise. Understand that the more you rise, the more attention you will attract, both positive and negative. The truly best are not immune to criticism. They are simply unburdened by it. Your value is not defined by external opinion, but by your internal conviction and your relentless action. Third, reframe setbacks as forging fire. Every failure, every defeat, every plan gone awry is not an end, but an opportunity to become harder, sharper, more resilient. View these moments not as proof of your inadequacy, but as the very process by which you are being refined. The man who has truly acted as if he is the best is not the one who has never fallen, but the one who has risen, scarred but stronger, every single time. Learn the lesson, absorb the pain, and then rise immediately with renewed determination. These are the trials that separate the aspiring from the actual. The man who welcomes the challenge, who stands firm in the face of the storm, proves beyond doubt that he is not only among the best, but he is the best within his sphere of influence. To shrink from the crucible is to guarantee your own insignificance. To embrace it is to ascend to true power. Adversity clarifies your true measure. The unconquerable spirit is your greatest weapon. Every setback is a stepping stone for the best. You aspire to act as if you are the best. To embody that unshakable confidence, that formidable competence. This is not a state you arrive at through wishful thinking or a sudden burst of inspiration. It is the cumulative result of daily relentless, often unglamorous discipline. While others seek the fleeting dopamine hit of instant gratification, the man who acts as if he is the best understands that true power is built brick by brick through consistent, unwavering effort in the mundane. Most men want the prize without paying the price, the victory without the daily grind. They assume greatness is an innate gift, a lightning strike of talent that bypasses the need for sweat. This is why they remain perpetually average. Consider the modern individual adrift in a sea of distractions. He sets ambitious goals, but his daily habits betray him. He intends to work out, but hits snooze. He plans to master a skill, but spends hours mindlessly consuming content. He dreams of leading, but cannot even lead himself through a simple, consistent routine. He believes that the truly successful, the best, operate on some higher plane, beyond the need for rigorous self-control. He assumes their achievements happened effortlessly, overlooking the invisible daily routines, the thousands of hours of quiet, focused work that built their capabilities. This fundamental misunderstanding of discipline is a silent killer of potential, ensuring that his grand aspirations remain nothing more than empty fantasies. Throughout my life, from my earliest days as a soldier to my final years as a statesman, discipline was not a burden, but a scaffolding for achievement. My days were a symphony of purposey early rising, dictating and writing for hours, meticulously preparing speeches, engaging in rigorous parliamentary debate. Even the physical act of bricklaying on my estate was a form of disciplined, focused effort. I maintained an immense intellectual output, writing books, articles, and countless memoranda, not through sporadic bursts of energy, but through a strict, self-imposed regimen. The very act of governing a nation at war required an unparalleled level of personal discipline, long hours, meticulous planning, absorbing immense pressure, all while maintaining a consistent vision. I understood that genius, foresight, and courage were amplified only by the unwavering support of daily, systematic effort. I acted as if I was the best, because I systematically built myself into the best, brick by disciplined brick, every single day. To embody the claim that no one is better than you must implement these warriors' disciplines into your daily life first. The non-negotiable hour of mastery. Dedicate at least 1 hour every single day to focus, uninterrupted work on your highest leverage activity or skill. This is not about answering emails or browsing the news. This is deep work writing, coding, practicing your craft, strategizing, learning. This hour is sacred, protect it fiercely. Do this before the world wakes up or when others are winding down. This consistent, deliberate practice is how you compound your skills and knowledge, making you demonstrably better than those who dabble. Second, our strategic recovery and optimal performance. Discipline is not just about relentless effort, it's about intelligent management of your resources. Prioritize adequate sleep, healthy nutrition, and strategic breaks. Understand that your body and mind are your primary tools, and treating them with neglect is a form of self-sabotage. The best performers are not those who work the longest, but those who optimize their energy and focus, allowing them to perform at their peak when it truly matters. Third, S, relentless intellectual input and output. Fuel your mind as diligently as you train your body. Read widely, listen critically, engage with challenging ideas. Then, crucially, write, create. The act of creating forces you to clarify your thoughts, synthesize information, and solidify your understanding. This constant cycle of input and output sharpens your intellect and makes your insights formidable. These daily disciplines are the invisible gears that drive visible greatness. They are the silent, consistent acts that elevate you above the ephemeral, the inconsistent, the merely aspirational. Every day you adhere to this regimen. You are building an unshakable foundation of competence and confidence. You are proving to yourself through concrete action that you are indeed forging yourself into the best. Neglect these disciplines, and you will forever be chasing the phantom of potential, a man who knows what he should do, but lacks the will to do it. The daily grind builds undisputed power. Your habits define your destiny. Discipline is the currency of the best. You have built the best version of yourself from within, refined by relentless discipline, and forged in the crucible of challenge. Now, how do you project this power? How do you demonstrate that no one is better than you without uttering a single boast, without needing to convince anyone? This is the art of silent dominance, the quiet authority that commands respect not through volume or grand pronouncements, but through an undeniable, almost palpable presence. Look at the modern man, and you will see the antithesis of this. He constantly seeks attention, needing to be seen as the best, through outward show rather than internal reality. He talks over others in meetings, attempting to dominate conversations to prove his intelligence, yet often only revealing his insecurity. He posts endlessly about his supposed successes online, crafting a curated image of superiority, desperate for validation from a digital crowd. He interrupts, belittles, or constantly corrects others, believing that asserting verbally makes it true, rather than simply embodying competence. This desperate need for external validation is a profound weakness, a tell betraying the very confidence he seeks to project. He mistakes volume for authority, performance for genuine power. This constant outward striving ensures he lacks the quiet gravitas that truly commands respect. He seeks to convince others he is the best, rather than simply being the best. This insecurity is a cage of his own making, and it keeps him from true influence. Throughout my life, even when facing the greatest crisis, my physical presence often commanded a room more effectively than any shouted command. My silences, particularly in moments of high tension or fierce debate, were often more impactful than my most eloquent words. When I listened, it was with an intense, focused attention, absorbing every detail, every nuance. And when I finally spoke, my words were delivered with an economy of expression, each phrase carrying immense weight, born from deep thought and unwavering conviction. Consider the war cabinet meetings during the darkest days of 1940. These gatherings were often fraught with tension, dissent, and raw fear. I, at the head of the table, would not always be the loudest voice. I would listen, absorbing the conflicting arguments, the concerns of generals and ministers, the desperate reports from the front. But when I finally spoke, my words were decisive, my gaze unwavering, my very posture radiating an absolute certainty in our course. I did not need to shout to assert my authority, my unshakable resolve. My unflinching composure spoke volumes. Even when facing fierce opposition or personal attacks in Parliament, my equanimity was legendary. I understood that true authority does not parade itself, it simply is. My famous wit and rhetoric were tools, deployed strategically, but the underlying power came from my deep understanding, my unshakable will, and my refusal to be rattled. I acted as if I was the best, not by telling everyone, but by embodying it in every deliberate breath and action. To truly act as if you are the best, to project an undeniable aura of silent dominance, you must cultivate these specific behaviors. First, the unflinching gaze and deliberate stillness. Your eyes are not merely organs of sight. They are windows to your conviction and your soul. When you speak, and especially when you listen, maintain firm, direct eye contact. This is not an aggressive stare, but a signal of unwavering engagement, honesty, and an absence of fear. It communicates that you are fully present, fully confident, and fully in control. Pair this with deliberate stillness. Avoid fidgeting, nervous gestures, or constant motion. A still body communicates a still, confident mind. When you move, do so with purpose. When you stand, stand tall. This physical posture broadcasts inner power. It tells the world you are unhurried, unburdened, and entirely self-assured. This is how you command without speaking. Second, strategic silence and calculated economy of wordsy. Resist the modern urge to fill every silence, to offer an opinion on every trivial subject, or to defend yourself unnecessarily. The man who truly knows his worth does not need to constantly prove it. Listen more than you speak. Gather intelligence. Absorb. Process. When you do speak, let your words be precise, impactful, and weighted with thought. Better to deliver one unassailable point than 20 flimsy arguments. Silence can be a powerful tool. It forces others to consider your presence, to wonder at your thoughts, or to fill the void themselves. This also allows you to gather crucial information. You are not trying to convince them you are the best. You are simply being the best. Your measured words, delivered with conviction, will cut through the noise of lesser men. Third, led by example, not by pronouncement. The truly dominant individual does not need to tell people what he has done or what he is capable of. His actions speak for themselves. His consistent competence, his unwavering resolve in the face of adversity, his meticulous preparation, his ability to consistently deliver results, these are the silent, irrefutable declarations of his superiority. Focus on doing the work, achieving the results, embodying the principles rather than talking about them. Your output, your consistent quality, your quiet dedication to mastery will command respect far more effectively than any self-congratulatory speech or grandstanding. Let your success be your noise. If you master these behaviors of silent dominance, people will not merely listen to your words, they will pay attention to your very presence. Your opinions will carry inherent weight. You will be seen as a pillar of strength, a voice of reason amidst chaos, a natural leader. You will earn genuine, enduring respect, not fleeting admiration. You will be seen as a man of formidable substance, not simply a performer. You will command a room without needing to be the loudest voice. But if you continue to seek validation, to shout your worth, to constantly prove yourself, you will be seen as insecure, desperate, and ultimately weak. You will be perceived as a performer, a showman, not a force. You will always be chasing external approval, never truly solid in your own power, perpetually stuck in the shadow of what you truly could be. True power whispers. Your actions are your loudest boast. The silent man often holds the most power. Command respect, do not demand it. When you are truly the best, you don't need to announce it. You have built the best version of yourself, refined it in the fire of discipline and testing, and learned to project your power with silent dominance. What then? Is this journey merely for your own satisfaction, for your own fleeting triumph? No. Your strength, forged through grit and unwavering conviction, is meant to endure. It is meant to cast a long shadow, to inspire, to lead, to leave an indelible mark on the world long after you are gone. This is the ultimate expression of acting as if you are the best, not just for today, but for all time, building something that outlives you. The modern man too often lives for the ephemeral. He chases trending topics, fleeting social media validation, instant financial gains, and superficial pleasures. His ambition is short-sighted, focused almost exclusively on immediate gratification rather than enduring impact. He invests in quick wins, not lasting foundations. He designs his life for applause today, not for a meaningful legacy tomorrow. He launches a business for a quick cash out, never considering building a generational institution. He cultivates a public persona that shines brightly for a moment, then fades, rather than building a character that stands the test of time and scrutiny. He thinks about himself only in the present tense, never considering the ripple effect of his choices through decades, even centuries. He leaves no meaningful mark beyond his own consumption, optimizing for his own comfort and convenience, never for the collective good or the future that others will inherit. He believes that building a legacy is for others, for special people, for those born into greatness, never for him. This short-sightedness, this refusal to build something that outlives him, is the ultimate surrender to insignificance. You become a footnote in history, not a chapter. My life was defined by a profound sense of history and my own place within its unfolding drama. I knew that the decisions made in 1940 would not just affect the current generation, but would shape the very course of civilization for centuries. My commitment to democracy, to freedom, to the defeat of tyranny, was not for personal gain or fleeting popularity. It was a fight for principles that transcended my own lifetime, for a future I would not live to fully see. I spent my wilderness years not just preparing for my moment, but writing vast historical works, understanding the grand sweep of human events, knowing that the past held the keys to the future. I understood that true leadership, true bestness, meant building something that could withstand the storms of time. I did not fight the war merely to survive. I fought it to secure a future where liberty could flourish across the globe. My leadership, my unwavering resolve, my defiant spirit were all aimed at creating a legacy of freedom and resilience that would endure far beyond my mortal years. I acted as if I was the best, not just for myself, but for the countless generations to come, understanding that my actions today would shape their tomorrow, leaving an indelible mark on human history. To truly embody the claim that no one is better than you, to live a life of enduring strength and leave a profound legacy, you must cultivate these principles first. S, define your enduring contribution. The why. Beyond your current goals, what lasting impact do you intend to make? What core values will define your life and work? Values that you wish to pass on, or that you wish to see manifest in the world long after you are gone. This isn't about mere ambition. It's about purpose. What problem will you solve for generations to come? What truth will you champion? This clarity of purpose, focused on something larger than yourself, will drive you to build with permanence in mind. It gives your efforts meaning beyond your own existence. Second, as build fortresses, not tents, focus on foundations. Invest your energy in building structures and systems that endure. This applies to your character, your relationships, your business, your knowledge. Instead of chasing quick trends or superficial gains, master fundamental skills that remain valuable across time, no matter how the world changes. Cultivate deep, honest relationships built on trust, loyalty, and shared purpose, not superficial networking. Create work that is timeless, not merely fashionable. Think in terms of decades, not days or weeks. This means prioritizing long-term growth over short-term gratification, even when it's harder, even when it requires greater patience and more difficult choices. This is how you ensure your strength outlives you. Third, cultivate mentorship and principles. Propagate your best. The legacy of strength is not just what you build, but what you teach and who you raise. Identify those who can carry forward your principles, your methods, your vision. Share your hard-won wisdom, not to boast, but to empower the next generation of leaders. Mentor fiercely. Ensure that the discipline, the conviction, act as if you are the best mindset you've cultivated is passed on. Your greatest monument may not be a building or an empire, but the lives you've shaped, the minds you've ignited, and the timeless principles you've propagated into the future. Your influence becomes exponential through others. Fourth, embrace the long game mentality. Every decision you make, no matter how small, has a ripple effect into the future. Before you act, ask yourself, does this contribute to the enduring legacy I wish to build? Does this align with the man who acts as if he is the best, not just for himself, but for the world he will leave behind? This perspective allows you to make difficult short-term sacrifices for profound long-term gains, to endure present discomfort for future glory, and to persist when others have long given up. This is the hallmark of true, lasting greatness. If you embrace this legacy of strength, your life will be imbued with profound meaning and satisfaction. You will not only achieve personal greatness, but also become a force for positive change, a leader whose influence extends beyond their immediate sphere. Your life will be a testament to what is possible when a man refuses to be anything less than his best, and when he directs that power towards something greater than himself. You will be remembered, not just for your accomplishments, but for the character and principles that drove them. Fail to do so, and your strength, however potent in the moment, will dissipate like smoke. Your life will be forgotten, your impact negligible, and your deepest potential unrealized. You will be a brilliant flash, not an enduring light. Now, stand. You have recognized the modern weakness. You have answered the call to greatness, understood the brutal price of mediocrity. You have embraced the ancient principles, faced the crucible of testing, and forged the warrior's discipline. You have learned to command silent dominance. Now, you must act with an unwavering gaze towards the horizon. ACT-ASF-YO-ART BEST No EISBETE-TEN-YO-YU is not merely a personal mantra. It is a declaration of your capacity to shape destiny, to build enduring monuments of strength and purpose, to become a vital, indomitable force in the tapestry of human history. The time for hesitant steps is over. The time for building your legacy, for embodying ultimate strength, for living a life that echoes through generations is now. Go forth and build the future. Your true wealth is your lasting impact. Build a fortress, not a tent. The future belongs to those who build it. Live a life that echoes through generations. Greatness forged endures.